presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Cars Plus, drive home in a brand new 2021 Hyundai Palisade equipped with Guam's only lifetime powertrain limited warranty. Call 477-7807 or visit carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Guam back in P-Core 3, news you should know on the way. The latest with an investigation into allegations of online and on-duty gambling at the airport and captured with drugs on him. More on the capture of Randy Nelta Jr., the man identified as the gunman in the recent shooting in Agate.
Good evening, I'm Peter Santos. At 8 o'clock this morning, Guam officially went back into P-Core 3, meaning more restrictions were lifted. For example, depending on the type of business, they could see occupancy limits increase anywhere between 50 to 70%. As for bars and taverns, they will be allowed to reopen on Wednesday. After being closed for almost a year, they're preparing for the return of happy hour.
We took a trip down to the island's capital to see how things are going at the venue, as bars are set to reopen on Wednesday, exactly 200 days since the second lockdown. Owner of the venue, Phil Roberto.
You know, a lot of our customers have been messaging us on social media, WhatsApp, whatnot, just excited about the whole opportunity to get back out there. So I'm really humbled by the fact that they've been reaching out to us and are excited to come back. We just got the guidance document today from Public Health about how we need to operate. So we're going to go through that and check it against our previous operation plan. The issue of customers wearing the mask at all times is kind of going to be the challenge for us. We're not the mask police. We're here to, provide entertainment, a good social atmosphere and whatnot. So our challenge is going to be having our customers cooperate with us and, considering the safety of everybody else.
The governor's latest executive order gives bar owners the go-ahead to operate, but not without some pretty interesting restrictions, to include all live entertainment performers maintaining a 6-foot distance from each other, the installation of a physical barrier from the crowd, as well as requiring customers to refrain from cheering or singing along. So if you were hoping for live music on opening night, Roberto says that might not be the case for the venue.
The issue with bands is definitely going to be a challenge for us. Our space, stage as well. It's not very big, and accommodating a full band is usually 4 to 5 people. In terms of the guidelines, we probably couldn't comply. So initially, until there's some change in the guidance, we're probably not going to have a full band entertainment.
Down in Tumon, owner of Lifehouse Thomas Pinehoff wants patrons to know that they're doing all they can to ensure customers have a safe experience.
It's going to be clean, it's going to be sterile, it's going to be disinfected. We care for our place, it's our livelihood. We have people that work here, with people that support their families out of this room and out of this space. So, we want to make sure that people are confident and comfortable to be in here, be with us, and have a good time.
After spending most of last year unable to open, Pinehoff says prepping the bar to welcome patrons brought up some feelings.
It's been emotional. Actually, it's been a real roller coaster the last year. Not knowing if we can continue or when we can continue. So I ask everybody, please be confident, be strong, be firm, be Guam, come out, support local. That's what it is about. We're all local, so please come out.
Both Roberto and Pinehoff add that the 50% capacity limit will not be met at their establishments in efforts to allow for social distancing.
You can read the latest guidelines for P-Core 3 on our website at KUAM.com. The feds have approved upping Guam's vaccine allotments for the month of March. Guam's March allocation will be 35,260 vaccines, almost 14,000 more doses. Governor's Communication Director Crystal Paco San Agustin.
This is great news. It's the largest allocation we'll be getting since the vaccination efforts started in December. Guam has done amazing. Our vaccination efforts have been tremendously successful, leading the nation. If you look online, Guam always ranking in the top 4 or top 5 of our vaccines and the amount of vaccines we're able to administer on a weekly basis.
Vaccines are expected to arrive on March 5th. Due to the limited supply for the remainder of the month, the ULG vaccination clinic scheduled for this Saturday has been postponed. Once the vaccine supply is replenished, additional vaccination clinics will be scheduled and announced. 3 sailors aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt who tested positive for COVID-19 on February 14th were flown to the U.S. Naval Base Guam over the weekend. The 3 sailors continue to be asymptomatic and been in isolation and on base since their positive test. No other positives have been identified on the ship. The sailors will have no contact with the local population. You may recall last year the ship was forced to make an unscheduled port call to Guam after an outbreak of COVID on board. The TR is not on Guam according to the Navy, and it is fully operational and underway. A bill to take away the governor's power to extend a public health emergency without legislative approval was narrowly approved by an 8-7 margin during session today. The measure by Senator Chris Duenas requires that after the first 90 days from declaration, the governor must get the Senate's okay to continue. But as Nestor Lecanto reports, the bill faces an almost certain veto.
We asked the governor at her press conference Friday if she'd sign such a bill. Her response, quote, "Absolutely not."
I'm very adamant about this. This is a very dangerous piece of legislation. It's totally irresponsible.
She says if the legislature wants to end a public health emergency, they already have the power by law to do so. But the Republicans issued a statement saying the legislation does not seek to terminate it, but rather it requires the executive branch to be, quote, more forthright with their actions. In a compromise amendment, Democrat Majority Leader Talina Nelson made it 90 days after the initial declaration before the governor has to seek Senate approval for extensions.
You know how quickly the legislature cannot move. And to even say 90 days, I don't think they should have the authority to renew this public health emergencies every month.
Republicans insist it's not a legislative power grab, but rather, quote, an elevation of the authority to promote checks and balances. And in response to testimony from pandemic frontline agency heads, the GOP says it will not impede their work. But as she said, the governor is adamant that the current process is working and she will continue it as long as necessary.
And, again, guided by advice from the medical community, from the science community, from data and what's going on around, because we are very much impacted by what's going on around our island. In order for us to get these financial aid, we have to be a declared public health emergency. And by law, the individual that does that is the governor of Guam.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Voting no on the measure were Democrats Amanda Shelton, Clint Bridgell, Jose Pito Terlahi, Tina Barnes, Sabina Perez, Joe San Agustin, and Republican Mary Torres. In other session action, senators passed several other bills, including one by Vice Speaker Tina Barnes, which waives business license fees for the next 2 years, retroactive to fiscal year 2020. Also approved was a measure by Senator Mary Torres, which authorizes GovGuam to enter the Nurse Licensure Compact. Licensed nurses of compact member states and territories are automatically licensed to work in member jurisdictions. And Senator Joe San Agustin's bill to allow to fast-track conditional use approval of temporary foreign worker housing also passed. Speaker Therese Terlahi closed out the first session with a cautionary note about the government's finances and urged her colleagues to stay on top of how monies will be spent.
Bill number 26-36 COR. It must have an active role in how these hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent. I'm hoping that together with my colleagues, we will be able to focus to ensure that a bulk of this money goes to assisting families out of poverty for good. Some of our families have lived in poverty for decades. We need to provide food. It's evident from the long food lines, a place to build homes and infrastructure for those homes and for the rest of the island.
The legislature will soon begin working on the next fiscal year budget. The governor is also scheduled to deliver her State of the Island address on March 8th. GPD Highway Patrol is investigating the second auto-related fatality of this year. It happened along Route 16 in Barragata on Saturday afternoon. A 58-year-old man passed away. He was driving a Lexus heading south when he collided with a gray Kia Sportage. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. He was captured with a glass pipe with residue and with suspected meth in his backpack. Randy Chaco Jr. was charged with a myriad of charges to include attempted murder for the shooting in Agate that sent Jesse Kitachai to the hospital. According to the magistrate's complaint, he along with Anthony Ignacio were caught on surveillance video on the scene. Ignacio was the getaway driver, while Chaco was identified as the shooter. Court documents state they pulled up to the scene in a purple Jeep and a fight ensued with the victim. The victim was seen hitting the car. Nauta allegedly got out of the passenger seat and shot Kitachai multiple times with a shotgun. He fled the scene but was captured Friday in the Agate area. Aside from attempted murder, he was also charged with aggravated assault and possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. Still to come on Guam's News Leader, Tyler Matanani has an update on the Guam Department of Education as it continues planning for more students to return to face-to-face instruction. That and more on the way.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
While we've all been through a lot over the years,
typhoons, earthquakes, and now COVID-19,
we've been able to get through these together.
For more than 80 years,
Travel's Insurance has been protecting your homes, your businesses,
and the health of your family.
We are here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
There are better days ahead. Tomorrow's a new day filled with hope and choices.
The possibilities of what we can achieve together are limitless.
Let's continue to work together to ensure a brighter tomorrow for all of us.
We get it. Living to the fullest is tough during COVID-19. You don't need to do it alone, and everyone needs a hand right now. We are here. Feeling overwhelmed? Call 647-8833 and let's talk. Mangagihem is a project of Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center.
Ever since you've been hanging out with Jack, there's something different about you.
Everyone's feeling the late night vibe with my $4 sauced and loaded tots with cheddar bacon or jalapeno ranch.
Bring it. First time I saw you, you blew my mind. I got this feeling everything was alright. I've never known someone like you, but when I'm with you, everything feels brand new.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
The two victims and former Department of Corrections officer Darren Cruz's kidnapping case testify they struggled with PTSD and severe anxiety since the 2016 traumatizing incident. Here's more from Cruz's Superior Court sentencing hearing.
Darren Kerendon Cruz's estranged wife's lover testified that all that was running through his mind in October 2016 was whether or not he would survive. Cruz pled guilty to kidnapping as a second-degree felony, burglary as a third-degree felony, terrorizing as a third-degree felony, and assault as a misdemeanor. He was arrested nearly 5 years ago for holding his wife and her boyfriend, whom she was having an affair with, hostage. Cruz allegedly hid in his wife's home and forced her and her boyfriend to another location, where he brutally beat the man for hours and threatened to kill them if they told the police. During his sentencing hearing this morning, the man detailed the traumatizing experience as he was called up to testify as a government witness. He testified that Cruz would punch him in the face if he didn't like his wife's answers, and that there was an instance that evening when Cruz punched him while he was sleeping and he fell to the floor. This brutal beating went on throughout the night until the sun came up. Cruz allegedly told the victims there were only 3 ways the assault would end. The first option was to jump off the roof into the cliff line. The other option, to jump off the front of the building onto the concrete and maybe survive. Or the last option was for Cruz to slice both of their throats and throw their bodies over the cliff. Assistant Attorney General David Rivera also read a witness statement letter from his soon-to-be ex-wife. She stated that she left Cruz 4 months after their wedding because he is a liar, had paranoia episodes, and had infidelities with another woman. She testified that Cruz was violent to her and their 2 sons, and that at one point she had to contact her dad for financial help because he used her bank account to fuel his drug problem. Further, she stated that when she found Darren in her apartment, she thought he was going to kill her, and he was so high on drugs. The woman witnessed Cruz attack her boyfriend throughout the night, and she testified he held them both at knife point. Since that day, both victims testified they have PTSD, anxiety, and are in a constant state of fear. Both victims wish Cruz to get the help he needs and pay the price for the crime. Defense counsel David Lujan called up the psychiatrist who conducted Cruz's forensic psychiatric evaluation. According to her files, Cruz attempted to plead not guilty by reason of mental illness. Dr. Apadas testified that the defendant told him he was dealing with stress prior to the incident, and Cruz told his boss, the DOC warden, of the stress and depressions he was experiencing because of his marriage. At the time, the warden instructed Cruz to be seen by DOC psychiatrist Dr. Timenglo. It was determined that Cruz suffers from severe depression and bipolar disorder. The defense also brought forward the defendant's sister, Jolene Cruz. She testified that when her brother was first detained, he was suicidal, and she told him to stay strong for his sons. There was a court order that Cruz could not see his children for 3 years. Following witness testimonies, the defense requested for a continuance, and the government did not object. Cruz's sentencing hearing is recessed until March 4th at 1:30 p.m.
GFD units were hard at work over the weekend responding to calls for help. On Saturday, rescue units responded to a distressed swimmer at Gun Beach and distressed scuba divers in the Agate area. In both responses, they made it back to shore safely. On Sunday, GFD rescue units were dispatched to the Seti Bay area for a reported lost hiker. According to GFD spokesperson Kevin Riley, the female hiker was separated from her partner and got lost. Rescue units were able to establish communications with the lost hiker, located her, and escorted her back to the trailhead. Recently, the Guam Department of Education held a series of virtual PTO meetings where they addressed some of the biggest concerns brought forth by parents. Tyler Matanani has the story.
GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez says it's a very complicated domino effect when it comes to expanding face-to-face instruction.
It's really going to be a combination of 2 things, and one is to ensure that we use these funds to help address the needs at the school facilities. So we're talking about doing the upgrades and improvements to the air ventilation. So that could be air conditioning, air purification, HEPA filters. I think our parents are concerned about that. We're looking at using funding for restroom renovations, as well as for some of the canopy repairs.
But making sure schools are safe isn't the only concern. Fernandez says in addition to making them safer, they need students and parents to also feel safe.
Sometimes those aren't the same thing. So we're talking about things like the plexiglass for each student, even though there's not a lot of science behind that, and even though there are some concerns that could potentially be an additional challenge, because now you have to sanitize all those dividers. If it helps parents feel safer, then we're giving it some thought.
The department is also pushing for their employees to get vaccinated for COVID. About 1,400 GDOE personnel will be fully vaccinated by the end of February. One of the next steps is focusing in and narrowing the 3 models of learning down to 2. Guam is one of the only ones in the nation to provide hard copy as a model of learning. Since the onset of the pandemic, GDOE has adapted and provided students with access to technology through community learning centers and laptop distribution. Another shipment of laptops is expected to arrive within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
And once we're able to get those shipments of laptops in, provide the Wi-Fi access, at that point we're going to need to set a time frame for winding down the hard copy.
In addition, the bids for the free Wi-Fi services are due February 25th. And once those come in, the department can award that procurement and get the Wi-Fi access to families in need.
I just think that in the future, technology should be viewed as, number one, if we, for some reason, as we go through this pandemic, reverse course and have to close schools down again, we will have a very viable option by enabling everybody to get online and have a computer and have Wi-Fi access.
But even if a reversed course isn't the case, the department still sees a place for online learning, especially in the upper grade levels for things such as credit recovery and advanced classes. Fernandez says they're looking to transition into the two models of learning, face-to-face and online, by the fourth quarter and completely eliminate hard copy by the next school year. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
Up next with the latest into the investigation into online gambling at the airport. Keep it here.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.
Try double filet sandwich for double the flavor. Just in time for Lent for a limited time. Served all day.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Gila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
For the different beats of your life, we're here to keep you connected the way you want it. Plans made for you, by you. Build your own bundle with Link. Select the internet, entertainment, mobile, and home phone plans that fit your lifestyle. Pay for what you want, not for what you don't. Build your own bundle and save with Link.
United Airlines announced effective immediately that it is, quote, voluntarily and temporarily removing 24 Boeing 777 aircrafts powered by Pratt & Whitney 4000 series engines from our schedule. Since yesterday, we've been in touch with regulators at the NTSB and FAA, and we'll continue to work closely with them to determine any additional steps that are needed to ensure these aircraft meet our rigorous safety standards and can return to service, end quote. The move follows an incident yesterday which such a plane was forced to return to Denver on a flight to Honolulu after an engine failed and parts fell off during the flight. In a statement provided to KUAM, the airline said, quote, safety remains our highest priority for our employees and our customers. That's why our pilots and flight attendants take part in extensive training to prepare and manage incidents like United Flight 328. And we remain proud of their professionalism and steadfast dedication to safety in our day-to-day operations and when emergencies like this occur, end quote. Senator Amanda Shelton, who has oversight over at the Guam International Airport Authority, confirms that she has received a briefing from airport management but is declining at this time to provide details of that briefing because of the active investigation that is underway. Here's the latest on airport police officers accused of gambling online and on duty.
As we reported, an airport police officer was terminated after admitting to gambling online while on duty. In an adverse action filed with the Civil Service Commission, Jericho Santos admitted that he was turned on to a gambling app from a GPD officer. He admitted that he started his own gambling group with almost 250 people or agents to include other airport officers, Guam firefighters, National Guard members, Superior Court marshals, Guam police officers, and other members from the business community, as well as people from off-island. Santos admitted that he and his agents made an estimated $120,000 or more in cash collectively, and that he would receive $5,000 to $7,000. GIAA Executive Manager John Kanata has previously told KUAM that due to the ongoing investigation and because it's a personnel matter, he cannot comment on the issue at this time. The only information he could provide today is confirmation that adverse action has been taken against more than one GIAA employee. Senator Joanne Brown was the lawmaker who received the initial tip about airport police officers gambling on the job and forwarded it to Oversight Chair Senator Amanda Shelton.
But this whole issue, they're classified, they're untouchable. What is that? I mean, we all earn a salary. We all go to work. I think we should have a more transparent government collectively from the top to the bottom. And if some players out there aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, I don't think they should be shielded behind, it's a personnel. Who the heck is paying their salary? Why should that be private?
Senator Shelton, in a comment to KUAM, confirmed she was briefed by GIAA management about the investigation and is aware of the extent that documents detail hundreds of other online gamblers and other GovGuam agencies. Senator Shelton saying she is disappointed by what has been reported, but is also heartened to receive assurance from the GIAA leadership that all appropriate actions they have the power to take have been and will be taken as this matter moves forward. She states that because this is an ongoing matter, the committee, along with the rest of the public, will continue to let the designated authorities do their work unimpeded. However, given the committee's oversight responsibility, I can assure you we will thoroughly review what happened, the investigation that followed, and the outcome. Senator Tello Taitagui is a member of the committee, but says she hasn't received any information about the GIAA investigation from her colleague.
Now I'm hoping that these oversight chairs start having these chairs of these the oversight of these agencies start having these oversight, because what information is provided to her, she doesn't necessarily give to us. We could have that opportunity to ask those questions, especially if it's not availed to us. So I'm hoping that she does have a oversight chair, an oversight hearing.
According to Senator Shelton, legislative oversight and policy recommendations for moving forward will come at the appropriate time. Quote, the middle of an ongoing investigation is not the appropriate time and will allow the process to take its course. As for former GIAA police officer Santos, he has appealed his termination. He is scheduled to appear before the Civil Service Commission this Friday for a status call conference.
Birthday shout-outs are around the corner. Keep it here.
So long, nacho fries.
Whenever Taco Bell takes them off the menu, he can't escape the cravings. Nacho fries.
Escape your cravings with our nacho fries box. Run to Taco Bell.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize your home, office, or business with state-of-the-art commercial sprayers. For over 30 years, MTO Maintenance has been committed to the health and safety of our customers. And now, more than ever, a clean home, office, carpets, and furniture is a necessity to our island. Give us a call today. Stay healthy and stay safe, Guam.
Call 647-6861 for an appointment.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
February 22nd is definitely a day to have a happy birthday, and we're wishing that very sentiment to Quinn and Mason Agigi, who celebrate birthday number 8 today. Happy birthday to our dingas. You are so very loved by Mommy, Daddy, Grandma Sue, Papa Brad, and the rest of your adoring family. Happy Purplicious birthday, Verna Mendiola. Your 5th grade sisters, family, and friends sent you the shout out and they wish you the very best. Arya Jarisna, happy birthday, baby girl. No matter what, I love you. Please Call Me, from your only mommy, Bailey back in the States, Jerry and Jay's, Liam Larry, and your brothers. Happy birthday number 83 to Flor Mangobang. To Papa, we love you, says your family. Happy birthday, Flor. And also happy belated birthday wishes to Dornella Matanonia, who celebrates birthday number 19 on February the 20th. From the fams in Florida, Alabama, and Washington, wishing you a blessed birthday. We love and miss you. And to Rodney Palma, who was also born on the 20th, happy birthday to you, Daddy.
Remember, you can be a part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online at KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and your birth date. That's going to do it for us here on Primetime. Thanks for watching. Have a good night and be safe.